Special Ghetto.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Ghetto vlog, or should I say Grotto vlog, as it is a Christmas special. Loads to be getting on with this week. We've got competition winners to announce because somebody did finally guess my favourite Christmas song. We've got hunts to be going on. We're going to be going out first thing tomorrow morning on a big hunt. I've got parcels to open and all that other good stuff, as well as, of course, the Q&A, Christmas special Q&A. So I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can that you guys have put to me. But before any of that, I've got a lot of tidying up to do. So it's common knowledge, right, that writing, filming, editing videos takes time. But I think what's often less spoken about is the aftermath. So Wednesday's video, I looked at all my favourite sleeve covers and steelbooks, which is, you know, some of my favourite games to hunt and collect for. But as a result, the shelves are a mess. There's just games everywhere. It's all been taken out of alphabetical order to sort of film it and photograph it. And yeah, I'm just left with piles of games everywhere. So I've got to get my mind right, which means getting this room right before we can crack on with this vlog. So that's where we're going to start. Let's get the 3.0 looking good again. Right, okay, that is better. The room is clean. I feel like we can properly start the vlog now. Okay, so first things first, finally, somebody guessed my favourite Christmas song. In fact, 2 people got it right. I have got those names here. I'll mix it up. We'll open one. The winner of the Mega Drive sign, fantastic sign, awesome for a games room, is Game Collector 9193. Game Collector 9193. Let me know if you're watching, mate. Drop a comment in the comment section below. If not, if I don't hear from you, I'll try and go back and reply to your original comment. But you have won that fantastic Mega Drive sign. And the song is Mud Lonely This Christmas. Yeah, a bit of a Marmite one, right? My missus hates it. It's gonna be lonely. That's as much as you're getting from me. It was actually Kev that came up with that idea. When we were out on that recent hunt in CEX, it came on and I was singing it, and he's like, "Oh, this is what you should do for the giveaway." So shout out to Kev for the idea, and congratulations to Game Collector 9193. Get in touch, get me your address, and we'll get this sent out to you. But yeah, we've got a lot to be getting on with this week. It's going to be a very busy vlog in the run up to Christmas. I do have a gift that I want to show here. So this was sent in by Mike. Shout out to Mike. He messaged me and he said, "I've got this for you, do you need it?" And I do need it. This is box only, but it is Super Nintendo, so I mean, Super Nintendo cardboard, it's always a good day to receive Super Nintendo cardboard, right? If it'll come out of the bag. It's double bagged. Hey, we've all been there. Right, okay, and that is, it's in a box protector as well, so that's good. And that is Putty Squad. So he messaged me and just said, "Yeah, I've got this one, I don't think you have it in your collection," and I don't. So massive shout out to Mike, this is much appreciated, my friend. I think this is a relatively expensive one to buy complete or boxed, whereas the cartridge is quite cheap. So I'll be picking up cartridge only for this one. It does have an inlay as well, no manual, but you know, beggars cannot be choosers. I think that's all the putty games now. I've got 2 other putty ones on here somewhere. No, they're clay, aren't they? Getting confused with my putty and my clay. Yeah, putty squad. The CIA has formed a crack covert team to parachute into hostile areas and rescue the putty MIAs. The team consists of Super Putty and his one-time enemy, Dweezil the Ginger Cat. They must also terminate the road commander, Napalm the Cat. Where did they get this stuff from? Who, having gone crazy, has set himself up as a god to the native population of spotted frogs in the area. I mean, what were they smoking? But yeah, Putty Squad, massive shout out to Mike for that one. That is much appreciated. I'll be ordering the cartridge to put into this one very soon, so you can add that to the wall. What I am going to be doing tonight is playing God of War. I'm going to try and finish the Valhalla DLC, get that done. And then tomorrow morning we're going to head out early. Excuse me, we're going to go to Colville. So it's been quite a while since I've done the Colville, Ashby Zoo, Swaddling Coat route. I've had quite a lot of success there before. And there's a CEX at Colville as well. And I've got a few things I want to trade in. I'm losing my voice. I've got a few things that I want to trade in, including something which you may be surprised by. This is something I've been putting a bit of thought into for the last couple of days. So, on last week's vlog, you will have seen me get excited about the Street Fighter 6 Collector's Edition, right? And it's an absolute bargain. As many of you know, no joke, no exaggerations, I must have had, I'd say at least 10 people message me through one way or another, comment sections, inboxes, to tell me that they've pulled the trigger and they've bought it, which is great. It's great that I've got the ability to make you guys aware of these kind of bargains, and I'll always continue to make you aware on these vlogs as when I see them. But as the days have gone on, I've just been sat looking at this box, and it's just been annoying me because it's too big. It sticks out on the shelf. Its depth is too big for a Billy bookshelf. It takes up more than half the shelf in length. And it's just been annoying me. I don't collect PlayStation 5. I said at the end of the vlog it looks like I'm collecting PlayStation 5, right? That's what I said last week. Largely because of that. And I don't want to be, right? So, right now the price still hasn't gone down. I can still trade this in for £80 trade-in, which is like £14, £15 more than I paid for it, right? So I'm still on a winner, and I'm happy with that. So I might just have to trade it in tomorrow before the price drops, because so many people have bought it, it's inevitably going to drop. If this had something in it that I really wanted to display, I would keep it. So for example, my Assassin's Creed Odyssey statue, the collector's edition, I've just put the big box in the loft, and I've got the statue out because I love the statue. The two figures that came with this, they're really nice detail, but they're not action figures, they're like statues on like little plinths, and when I tried to put them in with my other figures, it just didn't work, they just looked odd. And because they've got like the base as well, and they don't stand without the base, it just didn't work. And I just sort of found myself thinking, you know what, if I'm being honest, I'd rather have £80 spent at CEX. So yeah, it's a cool piece, but I just don't have the real estate to dedicate more than half a Billy bookcase to it. And it was protruding. So all in all, I think it's probably for the best if I trade this in now rather than regret it months down the line when the value's gone through the floor. So yeah, we're going to be taking this into CEX with some other duplicates and stuff that I've got, which means I'm going to have quite a sizable CEX voucher. So either we'll find something when we're out and about tomorrow at CEX, or we'll play the CEX lottery very, very soon. So that is very much the plan for tomorrow. But as I say, right now I'm going to jump into God of War Valhalla.
Did you find what you needed? Right to you, brother. We're done here then, so what now? No. I believe I would like to sit here for a while.
Okay, so with the storyline completed, it's time to clean up the last of the trophies. I think there's just a couple more that I need to get done. Yeah. And then we'll be back to 100%. And there we go. Boom, boom. Maintain the 100% for God of War Ragnarok. In terms of the Valhalla, absolutely loved it. Very impressed that they gave that as free DLC. There's a lot of time you could put into this one. I could theoretically keep playing it now, such as the way that it's set up. If you're a fan of the God of War series and you remember old school Kratos, this is a must. It revisits all sort of like the Greek years, if you like, the original trilogy, sort of new school Kratos working through some of his demons. I think what they're doing is sort of like clearing up the character. Obviously things have evolved and there's been a big character arc, and let's say he made some questionable decisions in earlier games, and yeah, it sort of like reflects back on that and clears things up and whatnot, and yeah, almost like therapy for Kratos. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, happy to maintain the platinum.
Retro Ghetto.
Okay, so I made it to Colville on what has to be the windiest day of the year. There was trees blown down on the way here and all sorts. But yeah, we've got here. CEX is just about to open. We're on perfect timing. I'm going to take the stuff in that I've got to trade, including my Street Fighter Collector's Edition. Obviously, we're going to scour all the local charity shops, the CEX, the Fast Cash. Hopefully, I'll get to go upstairs again. Viewers of the vlog will remember that's that pawn shop where I went upstairs, and yeah, he did let me film once before, but I've never seen like a hoarding of rare and wonderful video games items like that. So hopefully on this vlog I might be able to sneak a little bit of footage of that if he's in and if he lets me in. I don't know how much filming I'm going to be able to do outside talking to the camera because it's so windy out there. Yeah, I'm looking now and the sign's half blown over, so yeah, I'll film and narrate where I can, but yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so I found some nice bits in here already, but now it's time to hunt for essentials. So yeah, a nice big PSP section. Let's see what we can find. So I was going to buy this, the Triple Action Pack. I always talk about compilations being worth picking up. Ultimate Action Triple Pack for the PS3. I think I've got this on the 360. Opened it up to see if there was a manual. Reprinted, but it doesn't say reprinted on the front. Bit sneaky that. Hopefully you guys can hear me in this torrential wind. Basically, things went really well. I've got a bag full of games. Really impressed with the Colville branch. Nice bits of retro, a couple of nice retro games. Yeah, I got some really good stuff. Obviously I'll show you when we get back. We've got to go hit the charity shops now. well, this is going well. I've been to one CEX, got a bag full of games. Went to one charity shop, bought 4 games. Yeah, this look can continue. I've had days like this in Colville before, so fingers crossed this carries on. Right, okay, that was very successful. I have got literally a bag full of stuff from charity shops and CEX. Also had a very interesting conversation with the chap at Fast Cash, which I'll discuss more once we get back to the 3.0 and I'll show you everything. I'm on somewhat time constraints today. I've got to get back for a nativity play. So I might skip Ashby de la Zouch. There's only a few charity shops there. I don't really have much luck. I think there's quite a few hunters I always seem to find have been picked through. So we might go straight to Swaddling Coat. There's a massive charity shop there, probably the biggest one I've ever been in. There's loads of other charity shops on the high street, as well as another Fast Cash. So yeah, I think that's probably what I'll do. Fly now to Swaddling Coat, then back to the 3.0, and then yeah, I'll show you everything that I've picked up. Okay, so I've made it to sunny Swaddling Coat. This is the huge charity shop, Sue Ryder. It's absolutely massive. Hopefully we can find something in here. Right, okay, we're back, and that was an awesome hunt. Yeah, really happy with that. And charity shops are undoubtedly getting harder and harder to find games in. Even this year, I think I've noticed the change. If you go back to the early vlogs, we were going out every week finding stuff in charity shops, and it's definitely slowing down. I think 2023 has definitely seen a decline in charity shops. There's a lot of charity shops and staff that I've spoke to that have sort of said to me, we no longer put them on the shelves, or they go on the websites, or they've started doing, I don't want to say due diligence, because I think quite a few places have gone a bit too far with the pricing, but there are a lot of places now which are pricing a lot higher than they used to, let's just say that, and often games are just sitting there for weeks or months because they're often more expensive than you can find them in CEX or eBay or wherever. But there are still good finds out there, and today has proved that, with hence the smile on my face, because yeah, I wasn't out for long, I was only out for a couple of hours this morning, but we did find some good stuff. The first place we went to was CEX. I'm going to get to that last because, unsurprisingly, that's where the best stuff was. That's where the retro is, some real nice pieces there. So we'll save the best for last. But the first charity shop that I went in today, I picked up 4 Wii games. So these were all just £1 each. And yeah, I don't want to pick up too much fodder for the Wii because there's so much on it available. But I probably did pick up a couple. But I picked up Carnival Funfair games. I can't remember why I bought this. I think maybe I just thought it'd be fun to play with the kids one day. These games were only £1, by the way, and I'm assuming CEX sell this for more, or it trades in for slightly more, or wouldn't have picked it up. But these are the sort of games that are good on the Wii, right? These ones that are just mini games that, yeah, maybe one day I'll play with the kids. Scrabble Interactive, because I do enjoy Scrabble, I'm not going to lie. I fancy myself as a bit of a wordsmith. I blame my my youth growing up, listening to hip-hop all the time, and yeah, I am pretty good at Scrabble, not going to lie. I don't play with the missus because she's not a very good loser. But yeah, I picked up Scrabble. And then Spider-Man 3. And what's more than paid for all of that is the standard Wii Sports Resort. So this was sat right on top of those games. That's how you know the games have come into the charity shop there probably this morning quite quickly, right? Because Wii Sports Resort doesn't sit on top of a pile of video games for long in a charity shop these days, and I think there's still £5 trading on this, so that's more than paid for all of these Wii games. So yeah, it was not a bad start to the day, right? And things just kind of got better from there, because one of the next charity shops that I went into had a bit more of a selection. It wasn't just sort of Wii games or standard sort of shovelware. There was some nice bits in there. It was sort of priced accordingly for the most part. There was quite a few games that I picked up and put back down because of the pricing, but most of these will be going into the collection. So the first one that I found was Little Big Planet 2, which I'm sure I've already got, but this is the Extras edition, so I certainly don't have this variant. I don't know what is additional. It does say like PlayStation Move features, so I don't know if there's anything additional. Oh yeah, it just says Cats Costume Pack, Dogs Costume Pack, Weekend Pursuits Costume Pack, etc, etc. So there's a lot of costume packs and level kits and that kind of thing. Full disclosure, I've never really given a Little Big Planet game any time. It's one of them games I'm sure I would enjoy, but I don't know, it always feels quite daunting. It's not like a pick up and play game, not that I imagine. It's like level crafting, right? So yeah, one day I'm definitely going to jump on Little Big Planet for sure, but that's just one I didn't have, so I picked that one up. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, this was £1. I'm assuming I picked this up because it's trades in for more at CEX, so yep, always keep looking out for Call of Duties. Skate, I wouldn't normally buy this for £3, it trades in for £5. Ideally, when you're looking at lower numbers, £3, £4, £5, I like them to sort of double in money. But when you're sort of there and the time and you're seeing these games, you just kind of keep grabbing them, right? And yeah, it trades in for £5, so I mean, I've made a couple of quid on it, right? So yeah, Skate 3. And this was a nice find, Nintendogs, Dalmatian and Friends. So this one was just £1. There was a few DS games, some were priced high, some were priced low. This was priced low. I'm pretty sure this trades in for about £5 as well. So yeah, a couple for the shelf and a couple to trade in, which more than pays for it. And that's kind of what you want, right, from these kind of hunts, to add a couple of games to your shelf and make some CEX vouchers. So yeah, we did well there. And then this is kind of like proof, if you need it, to always go into every charity shop, because I was walking through the town and you know those charity shops that you know they're not going to sell media. You walk past and it's just furniture. You see like beds and dressers and There was just an old man sat there, and I thought, oh, it's not going to be worth asking for video games in here. I walked in, asked if he had any video games. He said no, but I do have a few DVDs. I looked at the DVDs, and there was loads of CDs. And I saw a couple of hip-hop ones straight away, so I thought, right, okay. And it's just not the kind of shop where you would expect to find a hip-hop collection. There was a lot of R&B in there, but there was a couple of hip-hop as well. I said, how much are your CDs, mate? He said, like, £5 for £1. I think I found 8, and he charged me £1.50. So the ones which caught my eye were... Where are we? Twister, Kamikaze, great album. Like, Slow Jams, Overnight Celebrity. And... Tupac on Till the End of Time, which I think I've already got, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I grabbed it. And then there was a couple of Eminem albums. I prefer earlier Eminem, if I'm being honest. I prefer Marshall Mathers LP, Slim Shady LP. But yeah, a couple of M albums. And then a load of R&B, so I just grabbed a couple of Jagged Edge, Bobby Valentino, which, yeah, that album takes me back. And Aaliyah, R.I.P. So, I mean, for £1.50, I'm definitely glad that I popped my head into that predominantly furniture second-hand shop, because yeah, some nice additions there for my hip-hop CD shelf. And so from there I went to Fast Cash in Colville. I don't think the owner was there, but the guy recognised me. He came out and he said to me, after I posted that video previously a while back on the vlog where I explained to you guys about that back room and the amount of stuff that was in there. I was hoping I could convince him to let me film in there today, but as I say, he wasn't there. He said he had people ringing him the length and breadth of not only the country, but I think he said Great Britain or the British Isles. I can't remember exactly what he said. So you guys are on it, right? On it. So everyone kept ringing him and asking him. And what he's done is he's compiled like a spreadsheet now. And he gave me a link. I don't think it's live just yet. So he started itemizing all of his items, the condition, the price, etc. So I'm going to have a look at that. And he's doing this ahead of it going live. So he will be selling all this retro at some point. I don't think he's in a rush to do it. And, you know, he made a good point that it's not the sort of stuff that you can just put out in the shop, because it will go missing, right? You can't just have boxes of retro on the shelves. So it's kind of like finding the space within the shop to do so. So I think the plan is at some point for it to go live. As soon as it does go live, they're going to let me know. So I will go and film, so you guys will be aware of it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and I need to go through the spreadsheet with a fine-tooth comb. He didn't ask me to share it, so I won't be doing that just yet, because like I said, I don't think it's officially live yet. But there wasn't really much in there that I needed to buy. The only game in there that I didn't already own was a PS3 Essential for the collection, Just Cause 2. This was £1, he charged me 50p. I laughed with him, I said if I'd have known it was 50% off, I would have bought something more expensive. But yeah, this is complete with manual and the red disc. So yeah, just another one for the Essentials collection. Shout out to Fast Cash in Colville. And then from there, I headed to Swaddling Coat. So, you guys would have seen on the footage that massive charity shop that I told you about. And it is huge. I don't think I've ever been in a bigger one. It's massive. There wasn't much in terms of like games that I could see. So I asked the lady if there was any video games, and she said, oh, go and have a word with him in the back. And it was like one of them type moments, right? I went to find this guy, and before he popped his head out, I'm looking in this back room that's just full. And I could just see video games. I could see Pokemon games, DS games, all sorts of games. And I'm thinking, I've hit the jackpot. Like, all these games must have come in. And then the guy came out, and I was like, oh, mate, you got any video games? And he was like, no. And I was like, I didn't want to be confrontational or anything, but I was like, I can see them. And he was like, there's no discs. I was like, oh, you're joking. So this was kind of like the holding area, right? Like the purgatory, where they keep things that people have bought in but they don't have the discs, in hope that one day they'll be able to add the cartridges or the discs to then sell and obviously make more money for the charity, which obviously makes sense, and, you know, make as much money as you can for the charity shop, right? I asked him if he would sell me the Pokemon boxes, and he said he'd rather hang on to them. I didn't want to push it. I probably could have made him an offer, but I thought fair enough. And the only other thing that I had any interest in was this. So this was the London 2012 Steelbook. So I think this is for the Nintendo Wii, right? I originally thought this was the Mario and Sonic one, but I think this is just London 2012 done in a gold, like, you know, the gold medal. But I'm pretty sure this is for the Nintendo Wii. I'll look it up. But it was a Steelbook I didn't own, and I didn't want to leave the shop empty-handed. And he just said make a donation in the charity box, so I did chuck some money in the charity box, and I left with this, which is better than leaving nothing. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, the high I felt when I saw all those Pokemon games and everything. Yeah, a bit of a wounder, but still, it is what it is, right? So that was all I left the big charity shop with. And then we went into Swaddling Coat. I didn't find anything in the charity shops, which is why there wasn't much footage. A couple of things that were stupidly overpriced. But in the Fast Cash 50 in Swaddling Coat, because they've got one there as well, it's a much smaller branch. And if I'm being honest, I think all the best stuff goes to Colville. I did see this. This is the Assassin's Creed Origins, but it's the deluxe edition. So it comes in this nice big sleeve, and it comes with some additional extras, whatever is in here. I don't know, I've not had a look what we got in here. Right, it looks like a poster or a map and that, you know, the usual kind of stuff. This was £5, and to be honest, it became a no-brainer because I've already got this game, and I checked, and CEX, you can trade in the game with CEX for, it's either £3 or £4, so effectively this cost me £1 or £2. So, like I say, absolute no-brainer to be adding another nice sleeve cover special edition to the collection. So yeah, I was happy enough with that. And that was that. I headed back. I've been busy ever since then, and now we're recording this. So let's rewind time and go to the CEX. I was really impressed with the CEX. You guys would have seen on the footage, they already had a Street Fighter special edition in the window, and I got a bit worried because, you know, some places can be a bit picky about what they take in. And part of me thought, oh, they're going to say they've already got 2 or 3 of these in stock and they're not taking anymore, but they didn't. They took everything in. I can't speak highly enough of the staff there. The staff were great, very attentive, very helpful, and really good stock as well. So shout out to the Colville CEX branch. So I traded my stuff in, and I picked up some nice stuff. But before we get to my stuff, I picked up a couple of bits for Kev. So I sent Kev a couple of photos, and he instructed me that there was a couple of things that he wanted for his collection. Excuse me, let me just wet my whistle. So yeah, the things I picked up for Kev were, firstly, Rapala's Fishing Frenzy. This is like £6. I paid £10 for mine. I sent him a photo saying no brainer, right? And he said, I think I've got it, but I'm not 100%, so just buy it anyway. I mentioned this on my recent steelbooks and sleeve covers video. It's just a beautiful artwork, right? And I'm having a wee day, hopefully tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be a busy day. I've got things to do in here. We're going to be doing the Q&A. I've asked you guys to ask me questions, so we'll get to that tomorrow. But I need a Wii day. I need to have a day where I play Wii games. I've been thinking about it for ages. So yeah, I'm going to pull a load of Wii games out, and I'm just going to sit and try them all out and give my thoughts on them and sort of like dedicate myself to 1 or 2, depending on which ones I really enjoy. But yeah, that's coming very soon, if not tomorrow. But this is in really nice condition. And like I say, for £6, you don't leave things like this behind, right? I was happy to buy mine for £10. Funnily enough, in Fast Cash, in Swaddling Coat, at the beginning of the year. But yeah, Fishing Frenzy. And then I picked up this for him. So this is Red Dead 2, the Ultimate Edition on the PlayStation 4. I already have the Steelbook. I don't have this. I would love to have this, but not enough to spend £15 on it, right? So yeah, this is going to Kev. Shout out to Kev. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, I would have liked to add this cardboard sleeve to mine. But yeah, like I say, not enough to pay £15 for the privilege. But yeah, both in really nice condition. Some really nice bits in there. And that takes me on to my pickups. So, before we get to a couple of retro bits, I found, firstly, let's pick up the boring thing. Deus Ex, Human Revolution, PS3 Essentials that I needed, £1. Red disc, manual, again, right, just ticking them off the list, right? So that's another one for the PS3 Essentials list. And I also picked up this, so this is the Shadow of War Steelbook, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, I've already got a Shadow of War Steelbook. But then when I opened it up, I thought to myself, I don't own that. Like, I'm sure I don't own this one, right? Now, the reason for that is that I do own a Shadow of War Steelbook, but I've got like a Tesco exclusive I'll be showing on screen now. So it's a different one. This is the Shadow of War Gold Edition. I picked it up. It was only £4. Do I need every variant of Shadow of War? I certainly don't. But like I say, I was there. It was there. It was £4. It's in good condition. It was calling me. So I now have 2 different steelbooks for Shadow of War on the PS4. I mean, collecting's a disease, guys, right? Come on, let me off. So, there was a lot of Mega Drive games, as you saw on the footage. A couple Kev wanted me to ask about, but they didn't have manuals. But then the 2 that I wanted did have manuals, and they were in really nice condition. So I picked up a couple of Mega Drive games. The first one being Jurassic Park Rampage Edition. So this is a 1994 platformer, but it's got a lot of run and gun elements. Published by Blue Sky Software, and this one came out just 14 months after the original. So this was at a time where the world had gone Jurassic Park crazy, right? I remember being a kid and watching the like the premiere of Jurassic Park at the cinema, loving it like most kids did. And I think due to the success of that and how well the first game sold, they quickly got out a sequel. But this wasn't just like a cash grab. By all accounts, this is a better game. If you look at that, the footage, the graphics are much improved. It's not trying to be as realistic as the first game. It's more done in more of like an animated style, which I think is definitely held up better over time. It definitely looks better now than the original one did. Also, it's got more fluid movement, more weapons, just generally a better game. So fair play to them for not just going for the cash grab. Also on this, you can play as a raptor. And playing as the raptor gives it a lot of different gameplay elements. The levels are in a different order. There's a different boss. So it's almost like you get 2 games in one, right? So you got that replayability of being able to do it with the raptor once you finished it. But this was in really nice condition. It's just £20 and Blue Spine Mega Drive games, right? I've got the original Jurassic Park, I think, on the Mega Drive. And now I've got it on the Super Nintendo. And look at that. That manual looks like it's never been touched, right? So really nice condition. So I thought I'd have to pull the trigger on that one, and I was happy to do so. And then the other purchase, my most expensive purchase of the day, was X-Men. So with this one, you can play as Gambit, Nightcrawler, Wolverine and Cyclops in this 1993 Western Technology developed game. I don't know how good this is. IGN named this in their top 15 really difficult games. Yeah, from what I read in the article, it's very difficult and somewhat unfairly balanced. Apparently the boss fights are really difficult, and from what I understand, it needed the sequel. The sequel apparently is a better game in every way, and I think given how unbalanced and unfair it was, it needed it. But look at the box art. I mean, let me grab the second one. I mean, just look at them both side by side. Just wow, right? Talk about 90s. Look at that. That is everything you could want, right? From box art. Yeah, so really happy to have that. This still needs the cartridge. Shout out to Brad for this one. And that's now owning this is going to give me the impetus now to get the cartridge to play through the second one. But yeah, just really happy to add this. And once again, complete in nice condition. So yeah, this is basically where I'm at in terms of collecting. So like I said to you guys, some of you may be surprised that I traded in the Street Fighter 6 Collector's Edition. I got £80 trading. These cost me 50 quid, and this is where I'm at as a collector. I'd rather have retro. I get more joy from owning retro, and I don't have the room to display that big old box. This is what I want, right? So I've got this and like, what, £30 change to spend at CEX on something else. Yeah, for me, it's just a no-brainer, right? If I'm going to have something new, especially something massive, I've got to love it. And I think I've already said in this video, so I won't bore you guys repeating myself, but if there was something display-worthy in that collector's edition, I'd have kept it. If there was a statue that I really loved, I'd have it on display. If they'd have turned around to me this morning and said the price has dropped, I'd have happily kept it. But I'd rather have retro games, right? So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm really happy with my decision, and yeah, what a day, what a trip. I was only out for a couple of hours and I got like 2 bags full of stuff. So really good stuff, really happy with it. And I now find myself in this position that I love being in, where last night I finished God of War Valhalla, previously just finished Spider-Man. So now it feels like the world's my oyster. I love this. I always feel like the pressure because you have to make an informed choice now, right? There's so many games I want to play. But yeah, tonight when I get in here, I'm going to take a good look at my game shelves. and I'm going to play something and yeah, start anew, which is always a great feeling. So yeah, I'll check in with you guys later once I've made that decision. But yeah, loads coming up. Stay tuned, because as I say, we've got the Q&A session coming up very soon, and hopefully something coming in the post tomorrow as well. So. What is this game?
Emergency power. That's my flying time straight to hell.
Retro Ghetto.
Good morning. So, as you will see, last night I decided to start playing Devil's Third. I can't even begin to tell you why. It's a really strange one, right? Because you guys know I buy a lot of video games. I spend a lot of my time sitting in this room looking at video games. And I often think to myself, oh, I can't wait to play that. I'm going to play that next. I mean, you guys have heard me say hundreds of times, I'm going to be playing that soon. It's on the backlog. Blah, blah, blah. Can't wait to play it. And then the rare opportunity comes around where you finish a game and you can start anew. And I went completely left field. I don't know what went into my brain, but I just thought, you know what? I'm going to try Devil's Third. A game which notoriously got sort of kept in development hell. It was supposed to come out for PS3, then 360. It ended up as a Wii U exclusive. A very rare game to be an exclusive for a Nintendo console. It's a very, very much an 18 rated game. It's infamous because in America this game's ridiculously expensive. If you want the full Wii U set, you're going to pay a lot of money for that. I bought that so cheap. I think American collectors don't like to hear it. I think I paid, I can't remember now, it was like £6 or £8 for that. It's steadily going up in the UK, but nowhere near what it is on NTSC regions. But I've just always been intrigued by it. And you know what? It's not as bad as people make out. The controls take a bit of getting used to, especially with the Wii U Pro controller anyway. I don't like the way the buttons are situated. And there's such a weird angle to that right analog stick that even just getting used to the controller for me take a bit of time. But as a game, it's fine. It's decent. It's just a very sort of machismo, like alpha male with cheesy one-liners, blowing everything up. What is probably considered to be a bit of a dinosaur relic in 2023, right? These kind of games, those kind of characters. But for what it is, it's fun. It's not perfect. Frame rate drops in and out. Controls aren't fantastic, but it's nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be. And will I finish it? I don't know, but I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I had a bit of fun with it. But yeah, it's time now to move on to the Q&A session. Guys, actually before that, I've had this massive box arrive. So we're going to open that and get some stuff done in this room, hopefully, because I want to get some jobs done in here before Christmas. Anyway, the Q&A. So we're going to do the Q&A now. I can't answer all of the questions because there's so many. I want to thank everybody that sent in a question. We'll probably revisit this. I think I've got about 30 or so, 30 plus questions I'm going to be answering that I screenshotted. I could have done 100, if not more. So yeah, some real good questions. Some I can't answer or don't want to answer. I'm sure most of you will understand. Just for sort of privacy, I've got a young family. I'm not going to start disclosing a lot of personal information. I understand why people ask these questions, but I'm sure you can respect my privacy that I don't want to put everything out there into the public domain. But yeah, some great questions. Let's get into it. Right, okay. So before we get into these, I just want to say these have just been screenshotted as and when they've been asked. They're not pre-rehearsed, and I'm going to try and do it rapid fire. So I'm just going to try and answer them as quickly as possible without giving it too much thought. Okay, so the first question is, realistically, with the way prices are on retro, Do you think you will ever actually finish the SNES set off? Yes. Firstly, I think it's a good question. I think I will, but when, I don't know. I love collecting for the Super Nintendo, as you guys know. I'm just going to keep adding them as and when I find them. I don't envisage that the prices that they currently are will last forever, right? 16 bits very much my age, my generation. I think eventually the prices will start to come down. Listen, I might complete the set when I'm 70 years old. Who knows? But I do anticipate that I will do it. But it won't be anytime soon because I'm not going to be paying £1,000 or anywhere near that for one in particular game. But to answer the question, absolutely I think I'm going to finish the set. I wouldn't have started doing it, I wouldn't have announced I was doing it if I didn't anticipate that I would be finishing it. Next up, and sorry, that question was from John Vereen. Next up from Emma J94. Question, what does Mrs. Ghetto think of your collection and you spending all night in the game's 3.0 room? Love watching your videos, keep up the great work. Also, congrats on 10k. Very well deserved. Well, firstly, thank you very much. In terms of my collection, Mrs. Ghetto is very supportive of what I do, my endeavours, my hobbies. She is actually to blame for a lot of this because the collection that you see now was actually started by her. I'd gone through many different iterations of collections and selling them. And then on a birthday not long after we'd got together, she bought me a Super Nintendo, and that's the one I've still got now. And that was the start. That's the oldest console I own. That was kind of where all this began. So I often remind her that it's her fault. In terms of me spending all night in the 3.0, I don't. You guys see an hour of my week, right? A week, 7 days. You might see me in here a couple of nights a week, something like that. But obviously I only share with you this kind of part of my life, my hobby part of my life. And she's probably more than happy to have a couple of nights to herself watching Netflix. Obviously things are very different at the moment anyway with a newborn baby. Sleeping patterns are all over the place. So yeah, it's not sort of like a standard routine, but yeah, she doesn't mind. I'm sure she's probably happy to have the odd night to herself. Mike MFC has asked, do you ever fear running out of room? Yes and no. I think all collectors have to keep in mind space. But when I built this room, I kind of accepted how lucky I was to have my own space, how much work and effort went into making this space, and you'd always fill it, no matter how big it was. If I had twice the space, I'd just have twice the amount of stuff. And it's just kind of accepting that, having a different mentality. And also, I think I'd be the first to recognise if the room was too full. If it got to that point where it wasn't enjoyable to be in here because there was too much stuff in here, I would start thinning out some of my collections. But as it stands, I think the layout of the room is pretty much locked in. I was talking to Kev about this the other day, actually, and as much as I kind of love doing the whole game room, with him redesigning his, I'm slightly envious. There's part of me that would love to empty this room and go again, just because I love doing that, right? But I don't think I could have a better layout than I've got right now in terms of utilising the space. I'm looking around now, there's still several empty shelves. So yeah, I'm not in any danger of running out anytime soon. But in terms of, is it a fear? Not a fear. But like I said, I've just got an acceptance. This is my space. And once you get your mind right, you just have to sort of consider yourself fortunate and move on. But good question. Next up, Duncan Bowen. Why don't you collect for NES or N64? NES is a little bit before my time. I had one as a kid, but don't really have any nostalgia attached to it. And when I look at NES games, I don't think, oh yeah, I really want those. For me, 16-bit is where it really began in terms of visually and playability, in terms of like what I still enjoy playing now. I had an NES Classic. I don't really have any desire to play any 8-bit games. An N64 was just not for me, never for me. I remember my brother got an N64, and that just meant that the Super Nintendo and the PS1 was mine. I just played those. Yeah, I don't think the games have held up very well. I know some people love it. I don't think there's many good games for it. Not for me, that's just my opinion. So that's why. Nintendo DNB, are you going to do more merch? Yes. The problem is there's a lot of t-shirt designs that I always think, oh, I'd love to do that. But a lot of them are sort of tied into licensed franchises and things like that. And whilst I can make them for myself, once it becomes a case of putting it out there or selling them, you're sort of encroaching into that copyright and all that kind of thing. But that's the case with the Adriano one. A lot of people have asked me about that Pro Evolution Adriano t-shirt that I had made. I tried to put that through. I removed the sponsor from the football shirt, the boots, I did everything. And it still wouldn't let me sort of put that through on the Spring Tea, which is the company that I use to sell merchandise, which you can see below. But the answer is yes. We're also reworking the logo and things like that, so there's going to be more designs coming next year for sure. Cohig has asked, do you think the bubble will ever burst on the value of retro games? This could be a video in itself. This is a very difficult one to answer on like a quick fire thing. There's so many, there's a very multifaceted question. What I would say is, yes, I think it'll go up and down. I think certain things will go up in value, certain things will come down in value. I think certain things are sought after by certain age groups. Those age groups will fluctuate in terms of their want for the item, the value that they currently hold, and where they're at in their lives. So things that are cheap now, let's say Nintendo Wii 360, people that had those as kids will eventually get to that point where they have an expendable income, and then more and more people will want them. They'll have that nostalgia for it. Same with things like Super Nintendo Mega Drive. Over time, we'll get to that point where people like myself that had them as children will become 40, 50, 60. You might move on in life. You might not be in the realm of collecting video games anymore. Yeah, I just think it'll rise and fall is the short answer. I think some will go up, some will come down, and that's just the nature of the beast. Yeah, it's a very difficult question to answer very quickly. There's so many different opposing opinions on it, all of which have merit. Big Bad Bades asked, what's the most valuable game you found in a charity shop? I don't think there's any real standout one game as such. I remember before I started recording, I found a PS2 game. I don't remember exactly which one. It's one of the part of the Doc Hack series, and I think that was like 50, 60, 70 pounds. But yeah, I find bundles and things like that with value more so. And I found a lot of DVD box sets and toys and things like that that have a lot of value in terms of one specific game. I don't think there's any one that really jumps out at me, not that I can think of right now anyway. Tech Tucker has asked, why is Street Fighter your favourite fighting game franchise? Just nostalgia, right? I had it as a kid, Street Fighter 2. I love the artwork, I love the designs, that's why I love collecting the toys. I enjoy collecting Street Fighter more than I do playing it. I've not been in love with the last couple of games, but I love the artwork, I love the characters. Like I say, the designs, it's just always been a part of my life, I guess. And it's one of them games I wish I was good at, but I'm just not very good at it, unfortunately. Next, we have Games Realm 91. Do you think you will ever go for the Mega Drive set as well as SNES? Man, that's something I don't really want to admit out loud. I would love to, but I think I've got enough on my hands with Super Nintendo. I kind of treat Mega Drive like that anyway. If a game's affordable, if I want it, if I don't already own it, I buy it. I'm not sort of pursuing actively a full Mega Drive set, but that's just because, like I say, I've got more than enough on my hands. It's probably going to be a lifelong thing trying to get the Super Nintendo set, right? But to answer your question, would I like one? Absolutely. Okay, next. Joe Gaming Girly, what's your favourite PS3 game? I mean, the classic and the obvious answer, right, would be sort of The Last of Us. It's got to be up there, but for me, probably God of War 3. I've said many times before on the channel, God of War 3 is the game that made me fall back in love with gaming. Pulled me out from my slumber. Yeah, I just absolutely love that game, so I'd say God of War 3. Jay Statham 2090, which game do you think deserved a sequel but never got one? There's probably loads in terms of like retro games. Not too many I can think of off the top of my head right now. But I think more modern, definitely Days Gone. Famously had a sequel that was scrapped, right? Fantastic game, Days Gone, massively underappreciated. I'd love to see another one. I think that I'm not the only one. I hear a lot of sort of clamouring for a sequel, so hopefully over time the developers will hear that and hopefully we can get a Days Gone sequel. Just Average 9239, when can you truly remember you fell in love with gaming when you thought this was my passion? There wasn't really a key moment. Gaming is one of the things that's been a constant throughout my whole life, except for that kind of late teens, early 20s period. There wasn't really one specific thing. It kind of became a collecting thing. Like I say, the Mrs. Ghetto bought me that Super Nintendo. We're talking like when we first got together, so like 7, 8 years ago now. And then I sort of really got my passion. When I bought my first house, I had like this tiny little office, so that was the Retro Ghetto, the original, the 1.0. And that's when the passion really took over. When I had my own space to fill with games, that's when my collecting passion really came to the forefront. I filled that games room so quickly. I think probably goes back to being like a child. I'm a middle child. Never really had my own bedroom until I was much older. So I think always kind of wanting my own space full of my own things is probably one of the motivators to everything that you kind of see around me now, to be honest. Okay, next up, Hugo A. Franklin. How do you find the time to game hunt as often as you do? Love the vlogs, keep up the amazing work. Thank you. Just make time. I'm not really one of these people. I don't go to the pub and that kind of thing, and I don't go home and away following football teams like a lot of people do. It's just one of them things in life. I always think an excuse people have for everything in life is they don't have time. Whether that be working out, going to the gym, whatever it may be. I just sleep less. I'm not giving any advice on people what they should and shouldn't do. I just find ways to fit it in. I'll often work out at like 9, 10 o'clock at night because I haven't had a chance to do it yet today. So that's just kind of answering that question in a different way. But in terms of the game hunt, how do you game hunt as often as you do? Again, you only see an hour of my week. So there might be 1 at the most 2 days where I've pretty much dedicated it to going out game hunting. But often that's tied in with something that me and the partner have got to do anyway. You know, we all have to go places, and I'll just sort of detour a little bit and make sure I go to the local CEX or video game store if there is one and film there. So yeah, I just sort of make it happen really. If you enjoy doing something, you don't really think too much about it, you find a way. Okay, next up, Matthew McIntosh. Have you ever thought of trading in Ghetto Junior into CEX to put towards that holy grail on a daily basis, mate? Right, Wayne's Retro World. If you could only play one console for the rest of your life, what would it be? For me, that's a pretty easy one to answer. I think Nintendo Switch. I think it's probably got the best games library of all time, in my opinion, simply because it's had a lot of third-party support. There's loads of like modern retro titles for it. And whilst a lot of those games and third-party games are on other systems, it's also got all the Nintendo IPs. Yeah, I think it's just a fantastic console. Just the library is immense. I don't think I could ever get bored of playing the current Nintendo Switch library, and there's probably going to be a couple more years yet of games being released for it as well. So yeah, that's definitely quite an easy one for me to answer. Fat Zangief, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Very first Christmas to Mini Ghetto. Thank you very much. My question is, what is the most valuable item you found in a charity shop? And have you ever left something on the shelf that you regretted not buying? Right, okay, valuable item. We had that Wii U bundle this year, right? That was really good. What did that cost me? Like 20, 30 quid. The best part of £400 value from what I remember. That was a good one. And in terms of leaving something on the shelf that I've later regretted, yes. I don't know if I've ever spoke about this on the channel. When a Retro Ghetto Junior was younger, excuse me, quick sip of water. When Retro Ghetto Junior was younger, he was obsessed with dinosaurs. And I went into a charity shop one day, and there was this big dinosaur, this sort of like, to me it wasn't like a Jurassic Park one, it was like some cheap, weird, hybrid looking dinosaur, right, with all lights and weird colours and stuff. And it was like £2. And I was walking around the charity shop, this big dinosaur, and I remember thinking to myself, you know what, he's been naughty lately. I shouldn't be rewarding naughty behaviour with a toy. So I thought, nah, he's not having it. Put it back, went out the shop. Literally a day or so later, I'm sat with him watching toys on YouTube, right? Dinosaur toys on YouTube. And somebody was talking about this exact toy, and it was a Jurassic Park one. It was some weird Jurassic Park hybrid thing. And the person on there said it's quite rare. Excuse me. And when I looked it up, it was regularly selling on eBay for like over £100. So yeah, that was a wounder. I went back the next day, obviously it had already gone. So yeah, that one is one that sticks in my mind as something that I should have picked up that I didn't, because yeah, that was like £100 toy and I could have had it for like £3 or £4. But yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, Fat Zangief. Craig Dunn 90, which popular game, not franchise, that everyone else likes do you hate or dislike? I'm not a big RPG guy or JRPG guy. I don't hate any game, but in terms of like games I couldn't get on with, I've tried The Witcher a couple of times, couldn't get into it. It's one of them games that I really would like to like. I'd sort of love to be locked in a room for like a week with just The Witcher and be forced to sort of play it and play it and play it. Because I've tried, like I say, at least 3 times and I could just never get into it for whatever reason. And that seems to be, usually when that many people love something, there's a reason why. So I think it's more me than them. Like it's not you, it's me. But yeah, I just couldn't get into it. Retro Ram 88, shout out to the Rams. Do you think you might collect Japanese games in the future for the amazing box art? No. Excuse me, I'm fighting man flu here. I'm refusing to accept it. Right, anyway, sorry. Do you think you might collect Japanese games in the future for the amazing box art? No, because I collect enough stuff, and it's one way of me limiting my collecting. I always get people say to me things like, why don't you collect NTSC SNES games? They run at a better frame rate, and things like that. And it's all valid questions. And I get it, and I get why people like the Japanese box art. That's not where my nostalgia is. My nostalgia is, pow, those boxers playing it in that way. I never played these games as a kid and thought, oh, I wish I could play this in the higher hertz. That's just me personally. A lot of this is based on nostalgia. I enjoy playing them. And like I say, the main thing for me is just collecting PAL keeps my collecting habits down. And when you collect as many things as I do, and you only have so much space, anything which limits your collecting is a good thing. So that's why I don't. Adam Lily 10 has asked, what video game character would be an ideal co-host of the Retro Ghetto channel and why? Man, that's a great question. I don't know. The obvious answer would probably be something like Lara Croft, right? You can't have anyone too angry, could you? Like Kratos or anybody. That wouldn't go well. Everything in here would be broken before long. I really don't know. I'm going to say the female protagonist from Far Cry 3. If you know, you know. Right, okay, Brad 1644. First game to make you rage quit. I mean, probably football games, right? Me and my brothers got very competitive playing football games, early Pro Evos. But that's the reason I stopped buying FIFAs, was FIFA 17. I got big on FIFA 17. I went online, I did the whole Ultimate Team thing, you know, spending money on packs and all that kind of stuff, and just to get angry, really. And I kind of looked in the mirror one day and thought, I've got to stop this. So I stopped playing FIFA at FIFA 17. So that was definitely the biggest, that brought out the most rage in me. But I'm not really a big online player anyway. I don't play many games competitively online. I prefer one-player experiences or to play with a friend, just me and a friend that I know in the real world. Adam Mayher 53. Is there anything from your childhood that you sold or gave away that still gives you regret? Everything is the simple answer. I always feel very envious when I see people's collections and room tours and they talk about this is my one I had from my childhood, because I don't have anything from my childhood. My mum wasn't the sort of person to keep things. We sort of like moved things on, and I was very much that generation where if you wanted the next thing, you had to sell what you had. You know, money wasn't in abundance, and if you wanted a PlayStation 2, you'd best be trading in your PS1 and all the games to get it. And at the time, you didn't mind. We had that mentality at the time that the next console was always the best one. Like, rightly or wrongly, that's what I was fully focused as a kid, that the next one was always the best one, right? So, yeah, the answer is I'd like most things, especially that early Super Nintendo. I've got the Mario All-Stars box down there, but it's not the one I had from Christmas. I mean, the one I had at Christmas, I might have just ripped it off. I don't remember. But obviously, I would love to have that because of those nostalgic memories, but no, I don't have anything from when I was a kid. Dave A8487. Favourite rapper strip hip hop act you've seen live? I saw Ice Cube the other week. He was phenomenal. Well, my favourite hip hop artist is Nas, and I've seen Nas live, so that would have to be the answer. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen J. Cole, I've seen Jay-Z, but I saw Nas at a real small, intimate gig in, I think it was Manchester. There was about less than 500 people there in this small room, real crowded. Everyone was smoking. Nas himself was passing like blunts around, and yeah, that was a good night. Paulie Walnuts has asked, if you could have one other kiosk instead of Xbox 360, what would it be? From a collector point of view, Super Nintendo, obviously, that's my favourite system. But I love this one. I've had, how many? 4 others. This is the one I decided to keep just because I use it the most and I think it looks cool. But there's some real nice kiosks out there, but I just wouldn't have the room for them. I would not have the room for them. I used to say that a Super Nintendo kiosk was my grail. But in reality, where would it go? It's just one of them, right? Corbin's Combo has asked, Dream Steelbook, have you not got yet? Mine is real clean Resident Evil 5. They're always battered. I don't really have a Steelbook that I really want that I don't own, I don't think. Everything that I want, I think I pretty much have. I'm quite fortunate in that the franchises I really love, they're not that really expensive. So like God of War, Street Fighter, that kind of thing. Whereas, you know, a lot of people that love horror games, you're sort of going into that realm of very expensive to get some of those steelbooks. But no, there isn't really one, to be honest. Not that I can think of. There's a couple of sleeve covers I would like. I'd like the Amazing Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 2 that comes with like that Venom, almost like lenticular metallic like sleeve big box. It's very expensive. CEX have sadly got it listed separately, so it's not one of them when you're just going to find and install, but that's the one that I would like that comes to mind in terms of like sleeve covers. Sabine Roberts, apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. During your YouTube journey on YouTube since 2020, what has been the most valuable lesson in editing or presentation? Man, there's been loads of lessons, right? But I don't know, because it's just been like a steady progress or progression. Like I said, I've been doing the channel now 3.5 years. You know, if you look back at early videos to now, the first thing is just, you can't really teach it. Just be more relaxed on camera, I guess. The more you do it, I mean, I do a very daily vlog. You know, I'm as relaxed now on camera talking to you as I am talking to my mum. It's, the more you do it, the more you become relaxed. When I'm on my older videos, I'm very wooden and taking myself too seriously. But that probably comes with age anyway. But in terms of like my personal, like the way I edit, I used to try and edit the whole video as I went throughout. So the first 5 minutes is edited, the next 5 minutes is edited. Whereas now I've learned sort of like put all the video clips together, edit the transitions and stuff like that, and then go back and do music, sound effects, that kind of thing, rather than trying to do it all as one. The way that it works better for me is I do it in stages. So like I'll film, I'll marry the clips together, and then I'll go back and sort of like do additional extras, effects, music, and all that kind of stuff. So that's probably the one that I've learned that's helped me the most. Daniel Som has asked, what is your favourite game of all time? A Link to the Past. Yeah, probably Zelda, A Link to the Past. The Amazing Mikey has asked, what shelving units does Kev have in his game room? Sorry, but I need to know. Right, okay, I'll ask Kev. I'll put like something on the screen now if he sends me what it is that he uses, but I know he's modified them all as well. So he bought a certain shelving unit which doesn't have much depth, so he can utilise the space in his room. But I know that he's also modified them quite heavily to make them work for him. A lot of people often say to me, like, why don't you sort of like modify these to take the depth back? I wouldn't really gain much from doing so. I see why people ask me that, but I'd lose the corner if I did it here. So that corner there where the standee is, I'd lose that section if I made them thinner. This one that I'm looking at now, so the Super Nintendo wall, I need to have some shelving space, right? I need to have some space in this room to put things on, to film things and whatnot. And the only other shelving area is the 360 area, which creates this whole piece. So theoretically, whilst it would work better for some games rooms, for me, it wouldn't really have much of an impact, which is why I don't do it. Bit gone on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, as I say, I'll put it on screen what Kev's got. Grumpy Games Rooms asked, what is the best and worst platform you currently own, and one worst game for each system? I don't really own the worst console, because if I did, I wouldn't own it if I didn't like it. I'd probably say the collection that I have the least love for, I've said this before, is PlayStation 1. I rarely play it. And obviously my favourite to collect for would be Super Nintendo. And one worst game for each system. I mean, I'm collecting for a full set. There's loads of terrible games. Loads of them. Yeah, too many to name. When can we see more bent legs in your videos? He's the best thing about your channel, to be honest. And that was sent in by Bent Legs. Shout out to Bent Legs. I'm actually going on a big hunt with Kev, Bent Legs, and Theo, Slimehouse TV. So I'm really looking forward to that. Last time we all went out was a great day. That's happening very soon. Just to make you guys aware, there's not going to be a Wednesday video. Obviously it's Christmas time, I'm going to be busy spending time with the family. It's not going to be a Wednesday video this week. The next video you should see should be that hunt with everybody. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Keep it locked to the channel. Vagabond CC has asked, what's your one grail item? Previously, like I say, I would have said a Super Nintendo kiosk, but I would have still liked one, don't get me wrong, but I know I'd have to move the whole room around to get it in. Something that I would really like is the life-size Kratos. NECA made a life-size Kratos. I've looked into it a couple of times about getting one here. If I lived in another country, I think Australia or America, I would have bought one new. But the shipping just doubles the price. You're going from £1,000 to £2,000. If one ever comes available, a life-size Kratos, and the way I would do it is I'd have to get rid of Master Chief. I love Master Chief. It's one of my favourite things in this room. A few people have said to me, get rid of it, which I don't understand. I think this is like the standout, the best thing in this room, if I'm being honest. That's the thing that everybody asks about when they come in here. But yeah, I'd probably replace Master Chief with a Kratos, should I be fortunate enough to ever find one. It's Real Retro as asked, are you sponsored by Le Creuset and Carhartt? No, but If either of those companies, in particular Carhartt, want to get in touch, feel free to reach out. No, I just like nice mugs because I like tea and I like certain brands of clothing. So yeah, but sadly not. And that's it, guys. I think that's all the questions that we're going to have time for to get through on this vlog. Like I say, if you've enjoyed that, let me know because there were so many questions sent in. And yeah, we could definitely do this again. It just felt like a good time to do it, with it being Christmas. But now we need to crack on. I've got things that I want to be doing, and we need to open this box as well. So let's do it. Right, okay, let's get into this unboxing then, shall we? So I actually almost forgot that I'd ordered this until it turned up. So there's a couple of things I'm waiting on, and they didn't arrive in time for this vlog. This was very much like an impulse purchase. I saw it on eBay and nobody had bid. And I thought, honestly, I didn't bid any more than 99 pence. And I won for 99p, which is unbelievable, to be honest. With postage, it cost me about £7. So still a bargain. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I just ain't got the room in here. This is a standee, unsurprisingly, given the box, right? But we've still got to find a place for the Grand Theft Auto standee, which comes as a precedent, right? That cost me about £200. So we can try and do that on this vlog if we've got time. But yeah, kind of a lot of it depends upon how cool this looks once I get it out of the box. Potentially, if there's no place for it in here, it can go to Ghetto Junior because I know he'd love to have it in his room. But I think this is like pretty much brand new from the store. But wow, there's more to it than I originally thought. Okay, so there's a poster. I'm not going to show you the poster just yet. Even the poster's cool. I can't believe I got this for the price. Right, there's something else in here as well. I think this is... yeah, you know like the cubes you get with these promotional pieces. There's a standee, a poster, and then like a cube. So like a display product that you make into a cube and put in the shop. Now this is directly from Sega, but it's not from a Sega console. It was developed by Sega. This was a PC game, I believe. And I think that's probably why I got it cheap. I don't know if it's necessarily people like it's sought after. I've never played it because I've never been a PC player, but you'll see why I bought it when I pull it out. But this is all brand new. So it's this, even this box has come directly from Sega. It says on it Sega FAO Entertainment Manager and blah blah blah. Right, okay, let me just have a quick look at this. Wow. Okay, so this is from Total War Rome 2. How cool is that? I absolutely love it. Wow, I need to find a place for this in this room. This might have to go on the back door, right? That is awesome, man. Like, if you know me, you know I'm all about Romans, Spartans, Greek mythology, ancient Rome. I love all that kind of stuff. And whilst I've got no attachment to this game, never played the game, who cares? Look how cool it is. This is better than I thought. Let's see what it will look like on the door, right? Now, obviously, you're not going to quite get the full effects. It's not there properly. But, yeah, man. I absolutely love that. Like, that would sort of sit about there in terms of the door frame. 99p. Yeah. Absolutely delighted with that. Let me know if you've got any experience with the game Total War Rome 2. 2013. This has been sat in that box all that time. Yeah, that might have to end up on the door. Maybe on next week's vlog, we'll get this on the door. Love that. Absolutely love it. And that takes me nicely onto this. One of my favourite standees. I've been saying for the last couple of vlogs that this is going to get put away next week. I've just been so busy, but we've got to try and do something with this right before this vlog ends. I think the natural sort of place for it to go would be here. So this sort of space here is still up for grabs. I thought at one point about extending the Mega Drive wall, but I don't know if it's necessary. There's loads of room for me to grow with the spines on display at the bottom shelf. And yeah, I just think it'll look great. But the only issue is how much of it I'll actually be able to get on display. So I'm going to measure it and see how much of the actual standee you'll see. Because I don't want the majority of it to be behind there in terms of, you know, for example, if that comes halfway up her face, it's just going to look weird. So I'm going to measure it out and see if it will be able to go there. Okay, so she has managed to fit in somewhat adequately behind the 360 area. I think it looks pretty good. I don't know if I'm 100% keeping it there, because what we're going to do on a future vlog is rearrange some of these standees. My thought process is I could potentially put her here, but I'd have to modify the standee, maybe score the lower part of it and fold it in on itself and have it like here where you can see it better, and then move the Capcom Marvel vs. Capcom one. The other option is if I could potentially play around with it to make it fit on the door, but now we've got that Rome one to throw into the mix. So yeah, all questions I think we can explore on another day, but for now, yeah man, pretty happy with that. I've had a quick clean up so that I can officially say before Christmas, the games room is, you guessed it, looking better than ever. And that is going to do it for this week's Christmas special Ghetto vlog. And what better time than this time of the year to say a massive thank you to everybody, right? Thank you all for the support. Thank you for watching me throughout this and the past 3.5 years. It's been an amazing year. And yeah, like I said, it's not going to be a Wednesday episode. I'm going to be spending time with the family. And I just want to say to a lot of people out there watching that my life's not always been like this. I don't want to get too deep at Christmas time, but take the blessings, right? I'm taking the blessings that I can spend Christmas with my family and looking forward to that downtime. But my life's not always been like this. I've had a couple of Christmases where I've spent them on my own. I remember once living in a flat. I remember just having meatballs and pasta and telling myself I didn't really care about Christmas. And at the time I probably believed it, but I just want to say to people out there that maybe aren't in the best place right now, you know, there are better days ahead. This isn't a lifestyle channel. I'm not preaching to anybody by any means, but I just want to say I've been there, right? Not every year has been as positive as this one's been. Trust me, I've lived many a year, lost many a hair follicle through various different things. But yeah, just keep grinding, keep going, and hopefully everybody watching can enjoy Christmas to some extent. Whatever you're doing, have a great one. I am gonna be back next Sunday, like I say. Big hunt planned, so look forward to that one. I've really enjoyed this week. Yeah, it's just been really good fun. Nice to get rekindled with charity shops and that kind of thing. This is probably going to end up being the longest vlog of the year, right, with the Q&A session. So let me know in the comments what you thought about that. But yeah, again, massive thank you to everybody, and I'll see you all real soon. Have a great Christmas from my family to yours in a bit.
Thank you everybody for watching the Ghetto vlog. I hope you have a good Christmas.
Good boy.
Lock into the retro ghetto.